Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the Loud Lab Show. Today we talk about the San Bernardino shootings, both of them, and we get to know Mike the Stringer. All right, welcome to the Loud Lab Show. Thanks for joining us. Today's show is brought to you by Odyssey Coach. For all your bus charter needs, Google and find Odyssey Coach. Let's get right to it. Today's guest, that guy. Today's guest is not only the hardest working stringer in the Inland Empire, he's also the hardest working stringer on the Loud Labs team, which makes him my most favorite stringer on the Loud Labs team. He runs our Facebook page with perfection. He is well known and liked by his peers and hated by his competition. He is my cousin, my right-hand man, second in command at Loud Labs News, a fucking thorn in my side. The Loud Labs Show finally welcomes Mike Lange.
Hey, Mike.
Welcome, buddy.
Hey.
So you know he likes you because he's not in Hawaii, right?
Yeah.
Right.
He didn't like.
Only
He
when he
didn't
goes to
like me
Hawaii,
when he was
right?
in Hawaii. I'll tell you that.
Right.
He did not like me.
It's not that I didn't like you. You guys asked me a fucking question and I answered it. You didn't like my answer.
Oh, no. All
right,
they
so,
asked you a question. I didn't have nothing.
Today we're going to talk about stringing. No, that's you. That's me. Today we're going to talk about stringing in the Inland Empire and the two San Bernardino shootings. Plus, we're going to get to know Mike a little bit. But before that, we're going to take care of some business. Right when we get back from taking care of business, we're going to get right into Victor's package. So let's take care of some business. Odyssey Coach, offering private and public bus charters. Opening in 1989, family-owned and operated, they provide superior motor coach service with clean, late-model equipment and drivers who are safe, friendly, and accommodating to all passengers' needs. Their clients include high schools, colleges, senior citizen groups, government agencies, tour groups, sports teams, and more. Odyssey Coach offers free daily shuttles to Paula casinos from the Cerritos, Long Beach, and Seal Beach areas. Odyssey Coach also offers free nightly shuttles to Payuma Casino from the Hawthorne, Long Beach, Fullerton, and Anaheim areas. You can reach Odyssey Coach 24 hours a day at 714-366-2755 or email Robert at odysseycoach.com. Odyssey Coach, they're looking forward to hearing from you. Obey Imaging Supplies, Inc. Family owned and operated, located in the beautiful city of Huntington Beach, California. They offer original equipment, manufactured toner, and new compatible laser inkjet toner for all makes and models. They also carry all Fuser maintenance kits, drums, micro toner, and any accessories pertaining to your printing supplies. When it comes to your toner needs, call Obey Imaging Supplies, Inc. Call Obey Imaging Supplies, Inc. today at 877-535-6239 or check them out online, obeyimaging.com.
Market Fixtures Unlimited, the premier choice for all your supermarket and restaurant equipment needs. For over 50 years, Market Fixtures Unlimited has been serving the wonderful state of California, Nevada, Arizona, and New Mexico. Whether you're looking for a brand new range to spruce up your restaurant's kitchen or a refurbished refrigerator unit for your supermarket, we can get all those products that you need. Let Market Fixtures Unlimited help you take your business from what it is now to what you know it's capable of being. Give Brian a call, 562-803-5553, or go to their website and check them out at marketfixturesunlimited.net.
Next up, we have Pedal Perfect. For all your flower needs and wants, call Pedal Perfect. They do it all. Weddings, parties, corporate events, you name it, call Pedal Perfect. Pedal Perfect offers local delivery in the Los Angeles and Orange County areas. Call Pedal Perfect at 562-631-6478. Or connect with them on Facebook, or you can check them out on Instagram, pedal_perfect. Thanks, people.
Right over here next to me is a makeshift memorial. It was a small one when it started, just a day after the tragedy took place, but look at the size of it. Look at how much it has grown. Clearly, this shows how close is this community. Meanwhile, students over here at North Park Elementary School are finally returning back to class, while the healing process also begins.
It was literally the scariest moment of my life.
This is what a parent's worst nightmare looks like.
And then I got a phone call from my sister.
A call many hope to never receive.
Possible active shooter at North Park Elementary.
Immediately I left work and got here, and it was basically chaotic.
For Tyra Long and Rosemary Hyen,
Start medical aid. We got 3 down.
it was a school day.
When your child is literally telling you, Mom, I counted the gunshots.
No one hopes to hear their child describe.
We were so scared, I wanted to cry, but I couldn't because I didn't want to scare my other friends.
Just hearing that from my son was just like, oh my gosh.
But today,
It's a healing process for them.
there were hugs,
And what are the flowers for?
My teacher.
gifts,
I posted them everywhere to donate a teddy bear.
and prayers.
We trust God, and that's what I keep telling them. Just pray and trust that God is with you.
I'm afraid it might happen again.
Yeah.
After listening to some of the student concerns, the parent concerns, and our employee concerns,
It is also a day of hope
It's not going to happen again. I'm completely confident it will not happen again.
that new security measures
the district is going to make some changes here at North Park Elementary.
will prevent such a tragedy.
I just want him to be okay.
And as we come back here now, you can see the flags over here at the school remains a half-staff, as you probably would see at any government building here in this city. Meanwhile, we've been told grief counselors will remain available throughout the week. In San Bernardino, I'm Victor Park for LOUDLABS News.
All right, thanks, Victor. Thank you for that package. It's a sad package. I don't really want to. I don't want to get too much into it. We're going to get into it in just a bit once we talk about the San Bernardino shootings. Because not only did Mike record them, he recorded them for history. Most of the stuff we do is just news. It's just we're exploiting stuff. But when it comes to stuff like this, like those 2 shootings in San Bernardino, that man recorded history. And history is a little different than just recording the news. But anyways, hi, Mike.
Hello.
How are you? Who are you? What's going on? Tell me a little bit about yourself. Okay, I'll start. You've been with us since what? 2013?
14.
14?
Yeah.
Is it 14? Mike has trained the most. He's the most trained stringer on my team. How long did you sit with me?
Couple months.
For a while. I mean, you were pretty much doing it for me by the end of it. So, yeah. What? Tell us a little bit about your background. Tell us why you care, who you are, where you've been.
Well, I'll tell you what's I don't know, pertinent to the job, I guess, because all my other work history is not important. But a little bit about me is I grew up in Riverside.
Is that called? Is it that's the 909?
It used to be.
Oh, right.
Actually, originally it used to be 714. Then 909.
Do you have the flame tattoo on the wrist?
No,
I thought that was I thought you needed to have that to live in Riverside.
Nope,
All right,
thank
all right,
goodness.
all right.
But no, as I was growing up, I was always interested in being a cop, doing something in law enforcement. However, I took a different path after I graduated. I joined the military.
What branch?
The Army.
Army.
Prior to the military, however, I was a police explorer for the city of Riverside, and I had the time of my life. That's why part of what I do now, I focus on the good of law enforcement, the good of fire departments, the good of EMS. Let's face it, we're all human. We all make mistakes. We all have bad days. I have bad days. The crappy part is when we both have bad days and we're at the scene and then it's like the cop there or the firefighter's got a bad day and I'm having a bad day. That makes for a bad day.
So, hey, real quick though, why didn't you, if you were just an explorer, how come you didn't finish all the way through?
I did. What happened was I was having such a good time with the police explorers, I stayed until they kicked me out. Because at age 21, you're done. Like you have to move on at age 21.
I mean, that's what I'm asking.
You could do that or a cadet.
Why didn't you do?
I joined the Army.
Oh, okay. So
instead of
what was the decision?
Yeah.
Why didn't you follow through and become the police officer that you were so eagerly trying to be?
Because instead of protecting a city, he wanted to protect the country.
That's a good answer, but that's not. I wish that was my reasoning. No, my reasoning is because this was back, you got to understand, this was back when I originally applied for LAPD. And this is back when
That would have been great and hilarious.
This is back when affirmative action was just taking place. So when I went and applied at the Riverside County Sheriff's Department, because that's where they were holding their testing for LAPD, you had to put a number on the top of your application. If you were a male, you put a 1. If you're a female, you put a 2. If you're white, you put a 4. So that way they knew ahead of time whether you were a white male, an Asian. They knew in advance.
It's all by number on the application?
All by number.
So, if it's a male, you put that number, but then if you're white, you put the next number.
Right.
Okay.
What year are we talking? Because we heard this on a previous episode with an officer friend of ours. He was talking about this. What year are you looking at?
I want to say
95, 96?
I want to say like 98.
98?
98.
All right.
Wow, that just dated me too.
Oh, dude, we're all you're about to hit 40, right? Or you hit it? You're about to hit it?
Why do we got to go there?
Because we're above 40 here.
Okay, well I'm not.
You're
So I got denied. I passed the first part. The second part was an essay question. What was your favorite subject in school?
Gotcha.
I guess
They didn't like your recess answer?
I wrote about English, and apparently that wasn't a good subject to write about. Either that or I did very terrible.
Should have probably wrote about history.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, you said English and your fucking story was horrible.
Probably. So I got a letter in the mail 2 weeks later saying thanks but no thanks.
Oh, okay.
And my buddy who I went with, he actually got pretty far in the process.
He got further than you. Yeah. Okay. So.
Yeah.
Riverside or LAPD?
His last name was Lopez. Let's just keep that.
Riverside or LAPD?
What's that?
Riverside or LAPD?
LAPD.
Okay.
We tested in the city of Riverside at the Sheriff's Department.
Is he a LAPD officer now?
I don't know. We kind of lost contact.
Oh, okay. So you get the letter and then.
So that kind of dampened my spirits. I don't like to be told no, and when I am told no, I kind of that's my downfall. Is I kind of just
you
like
never fucking what is it?
So I guess at that point I started doing some soul searching. I was like, okay, well my credit's not that great. I was young.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well my credit's
Banged
not that
a
great.
little bit here and there.
So in fact, at the time, it wasn't that it was bad. I just had none.
Yeah.
And for me, that's bad.
Well, we banged ours up.
So for me, that was bad.
When you have none, you have some,
You have
and they
some.
give you some, and then you have none real quick if you're no good at it.
But if you have it and then
Yeah,
you
but
bang
when
it
you're
up,
applying for law enforcement, anyways, back then when you were applying for law enforcement, they wanted to see that you had life experience.
Thank you, Discover Card. Today's episode is brought to you by Discover Card.
Well, I was gonna say Monster and Rockstar because I'm looking for
and we all are.
sponsors.
I mean,
but yeah,
this is pretty much our nights and days are sponsored by these things.
But no, seriously. So
one of these too.
Because I kind of started looking at it and I was like, okay, well I need to do something with my credit. So I joined the military thinking that, okay, well if I get away from having the day-to-day bills, I'm not gonna mess up my credit.
And they're paying you.
Yes. But
And you're not really spending money except on the weekends.
Wait a minute. Okay, that cannot be the soul's
That's
reason.
the sole reason.
Because your credit was fucking bad. You're like, so I'm gonna join the military.
Yes, because I wanted to be a cop bad. I wanted to be a cop bad. I did not want to mess up my credit. I wanted to build my credit, staying at home. You gotta understand.
You can build credit without going to fucking Iraq.
I didn't go to Iraq. Okay, so I was 21.
This is in between.
Yeah,
this is in between.
Okay.
This is after Bush and before the other Bush, right?
Right.
So during Clinton. It's Clinton.
What I'm saying is that you can build your credit without going.
It was towards the end of Bush.
You can build your credit without grabbing some camouflage in a fucking M16.
Yeah, but okay. Check this out.
So
I wanted to be a cop, right?
Right.
And I wanted to do what I could to protect my credit, maybe build up my credit a little bit, but I also wanted to be a badass. I mean, 21 years old, holding an M16.
Okay, so that's what
Come
I'm
on.
saying. Okay,
Like,
so that's
seriously, if I can't be a cop, let's go for the next best thing.
That's what I'm saying. But
I got you.
I get it. So that's what I'm saying. You weren't just, you're going to be a cop, but then so you start doing some soul searching, like you said, and then you're like, okay, maybe I'll just join the military and get my gun that way, and instead of a badge, you went for camo.
Yes, but I did it for the purpose of being a cop.
Right. Okay.
But anyway.
Because it does help when you have military background and being an officer.
Sure. And I did apply to be when I joined the military. Originally, I had applied for the Marines.
Okay.
And went down and took their testing and everything. But the reality is, when I was testing for them, they basically, because I wanted to be an MP.
Yeah.
Ultimately, my goal was to be a cop. So
That makes sense.
I applied for LAPD and got denied. So the next best thing is, let's go for the military and be an MP. So I applied. The recruiter told me, he's like, well, we don't have any MP slots open, but what we could do for you is you could join, you can enlist under an open contract. So in 6 months, when the MP position opens, we can put you in there.
Sure.
It sounded good to me.
Yeah. Okay.
Until I got down to MEPS down in San Diego, and I was talking to some people, and they said,
That's all bullshit.
whoa, before you go any further, you got to understand, open contract means in 6 months they can put you as a chef.
Anyway. Okay.
They can put you anywhere they want to.
You were getting baited.
Yeah, there's no guarantee.
You were getting baited.
So
that
did you
you're
go
gonna-
in an open contract?
Hell no, I flunked the test.
Oh. Wait, on purpose?
I had to get, yes, I had to get home. I
You're
was
just going
like,
C.
so I just went in and
A, B, B,
'cause
C,
it
A.
was all computerized, so I just
Right. Just
and
got it.
failed the test.
Okay.
I got a nice stay down in San Diego for the night.
Okay.
But once they told me, hey, this is
And that's the Marines, right?
Yeah, that was
Okay, that was the Marines.
Mike's all about getting the credit, the nice hotels.
Hey, I mean, if I can't get what I want, I may as well, right? I had
yeah,
free
okay,
food.
all right.
I had a drive down to San Diego, and I like to travel, so anytime, you know.
Yeah.
So then I started looking into the Army, and when I enlisted with them or was going through the process with them, that was one of the things that I looked at was being an MP. And they were actually straightforward with me and told me, look, everybody wants to be an MP.
Mm-hmm.
Let me show you something really cool. I was like, all right. So they showed me what they call a 19 Delta, which is a Cab Scout. And when he showed me this video, man, it was cool. They were riding dirt bikes and dune buggies and all kinds of stuff, right? I'm like, dude, this is sweet. This is like
They're gonna pay me for this?
I get my own bike, my gun,
right?
yeah.
And it's all got the, you know, it's all got the weaponry,
It's a weaponized bike.
Yeah, it's all right there, right?
Right.
I'm like, oh, dude, this is
The
sick.
the military must have a fucking stack, just a room full of Dearborns just making cool videos going, fuck, Jones.
How are we gonna get them to like what are they making for the millennials? Are they making just sitting there video games? You can play this video game live. You can play this video game live in Iraq.
We give you like 5 iPhones. You get all the apps you
No,
want.
you know what they're doing now? I mean, you see the commercials nowadays, it's all about hackers. You know, like the newest commercial for the military,
right,
it's,
yeah.
oh,
They're-
you know,
you
they
become
got the
yeah,
hackers going on there,
right.
oh, we can shut down your power grid. And then all of a sudden, they switch to,
Yeah.
you know,
Dude,
these
my
two
nephew
guys
just-
in this
actually,
room,
no,
and
I
they're
can't
like,
talk
wow,
about
we
that.
just stopped that. And I'm like, see,
I'll talk to you about it afterwards.
But anyway, I got tricked into that too, because I can tell you this much.
Yeah, the video was cool, right?
The video was really cool, but there was none of that stuff. I
No
mean, at least we weren't riding horses like they used to do back in the day.
Well, fuck.
But we were driving these
Riding horses?
things that, these Bradleys, I wouldn't even call them miniature tanks. To me, they were more like,
Like golf and stuff, go-karts?
they were more like cancer-causing machines, seriously, because you're sitting there trying to drive one. It's
Is it like a little cat but with armor on it?
it's a tracked vehicle. It's got a turret, so
Hold on.
it kind of looks like.
I have the world in front of me.
Yeah.
To the internet.
Pull this up. So,
To the internet. All right, what's it called? A Bradley?
Bradley. So anyway, as you're sitting in there,
Yeah.
the exhaust
You're sucking
is
it.
it's coming right in, and you're in an enclosed.
Yeah. But while this is happening, is your credit going up? Is your
No, it got worse. It got worse.
Is your
because
credit skyrocketing?
It got worse because even though I was living on post and we were, you know, living the time of our
So
lives.
what year
apparently.
did you find the army? When you get into the army, you
No,
get
I wanna hear more about
accepted.
these-
Yeah, no, I'm
these little
asking.
army
I'm asking.
stories.
What time are you? What year is this? Are you in? Did you finally get accepted in the army?
2000.
2000.
2000.
And so you're in, and then you get to your post, and you figure out what you're doing, and they stick you in a Bradley.
Yeah.
That's what you.
And the reality
And this is part of
I mean,
the what do they call it? The Cav Scout. The Cav Scout. What do they call that? You said earlier.
the Cab Scout.
Cav Scout.
Cav.
Cav.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's short
Like
for
cavalry?
cavalry. Yes.
Yeah.
Cavalry.
There you are saving people again. All right, so
Yeah,
which one is it? You
those-
see my mouse? Which one is it here?
It's pretty much all of those.
Any one of these? All right, so that's a tank. I'd call that a tank.
But it's not a tank.
But it's not a. But it's not a.
It's like a fire truck is not a fire engine kind of thing, or a fire. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's like, that's not a tank.
Yeah, but to somebody, a fire truck is a fire engine. You know, to the normal dude. Like,
That's not a tank turret. That's a fucking gun.
Yeah.
That doesn't shoot fucking missiles, or giant.
What are you talking about? Look at that. That's
But
a tank. Yeah,
well,
I'd call that.
next
If that
to
was
it-
driving down the street, I'd be like, hey, look at that tank going down the
They do
street.
have the tow missiles on there as well, but those are
Right.
garbage too. Okay, so anyway.
How many men can you fit in that thing?
Huh?
How many men can you fit in that?
It's
driver?
actually because it's a
Oh, they got a back end
it
carrier.
is
carrier.
it's
more of a
yeah, look at that. You can fit
of a troop
You can fit some things
transport.
going on there.
Troop
Yeah,
transport.
because they lower that back door and you
Right.
can load. You
Like
can load
what, 8
troops
dudes?
into it.
And then plus a
Yeah,
driver?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't feel comfortable with 8 dudes in there because one person passes gas and you're all screwed.
Yeah.
Here's a shot of the
But then
inside.
all the cartoon
There you go.
dolls
There's a
and
shot of the
exhaust
inside.
is mixing in there, so that's
That's
all good,
true. We're
right?
all. I mean, we're all gonna be dead anyway. 'cause-
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
So they train you on these things, and you get into
Yeah,
this is
so-
what you're doing.
So, well, yeah, they train you in this in basic, which was, I was like, all right, because we. Okay, so now I'm gonna throw myself and all the my fellow,
Armians.
yeah, under the bus. During basic at Fort Knox, we got in trouble quite a bit.
Yeah.
Quite a bit because, especially during this period here during our training on the Bradleys, they take you out on these courses and you're supposed to learn to drive them and dismount and all this stuff, which is great. Except, we went during the winter months, and I wasn't driving. I was, what they called the dismount. So I was the person in the back, and the person driving. We'll keep him nameless, but he floored this sucker. And they don't go very fast, but he floored it. We jumped this ramp, and we landed in the middle of a mud puddle. I mean, when I say mud puddle, it's like it used to be a lake at one point.
Swamp.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we were buried in that thing. It
Yeah?
took us forever. Yeah, because you got to get it out, and then you got to clean it. Because all that stuff, I mean, they look cool and all, but look at all that exhaust. All that goes inside.
Well, there's a lot of it that you're seeing that's coming on the outside, but there's a lot going inside. What you're
There's
saying
a lot
as well.
going in.
Yeah.
Yeah. They even
How come
have
the Army
stickers
doesn't-
on the
how come-
inside
how-
that
How come
say.
the Army doesn't have that in their video? You're like, cool, if you
Right?
can sit in this thing and you can suck all this exhaust. Army,
Yeah,
Army,
I never got
Army.
to see a dirt bike. I can tell you that.
You never saw a dirt bike out there on the
Never
course?
saw a dirt bike. Never saw
Right.
a dune buggy. Never even saw a horse. This is what I saw.
That must be the MTV
Those
Army.
and the Humvees.
That must have been the MTV Army.
It was.
Right.
It was. It was a bait and switch.
Right.
Bait and switch, bro.
Right.
It was a typical bait
You
and
mean
switch.
the government tried to fool you?
Yeah. And not only that, I mean, I really got screwed because then I joined. Once I got into it, we weren't making that much. Even though we were living on post, we're not making that
No
much.
shit.
as-
You didn't
as
look
a-
into any of this,
as a
dude?
private. No, man. We weren't.
He just
making
cared
that
about his
much.
credit.
So,
And an education. Did you care about that? Did they want to
I
educate you?
actually did care about that. They offered me an enlistment bonus. I could either take, I think it was $10,000 or $50,000 towards college. I took the $50,000 towards college, but we're not going to go into why that
Okay.
never happened.
Yeah, because I don't remember you going to college.
No. So, but I took the $50,000 because this is what happens when you take the $50,000. Ultimately, it's more money in your pocket because when you go to school, as long as you're enrolled full time, they cut you a check.
Yeah, for living expenses and books
They, yeah,
and all that shit.
they cut you a check every month, and whether you're using that full amount for school or not, that's what they
But
give
it's
you.
there, yeah, but it's there. It's yours.
So if I'm only if I go to RCC and I'm going full time and I'm only paying $500 a month and they're sending me a check for $1,500, I just pocketed $1,000.
Right.
So I was like, that's more than $10,000.
So you just got to had to fumble through the school process
Yeah.
to get
So
that cash.
So anyway, moral of the story is the whole Army thing kind of screwed me up even more because I actually ended up going into big time debt because cell phones started coming out. And I had to have a cell phone to keep up with, the times.
Sure.
And Sprint at the time was offering them for free. So,
Mike, nothing's for
so
free,
I did
man.
that. Well, then I started falling more and more behind in my bills because I had a truck payment and I have a cell phone. Even though I'm living on post, you got to go out and party. I mean, everybody parties and all
Right.
that. So,
I have no idea what you're talking about.
we did that, and I got into debt. So
You got to buy
okay, well,
off-base camouflage,
well, you got to take your stuff to the cleaners and stuff because you got to look sharp because you don't want to be the one getting yelled at during formations and stuff. So Yeah, I got into debt because I ended up taking out a loan with Wells Fargo. Because at the time, Wells Fargo offered you could get up to a $500 cash advance.
For Army
do
people or
that.
just regular people?
I don't know. I just know that it was offered to me, and of course
Gotcha.
I did it. You just go to your ATM, and it would say $500 cash advance. Hell yes, you know.
I'll take it.
I'll take it. Free money, $500. Yes.
Oh, that's hilarious.
But the problem is, I never could catch up after that. It's like once you take that 500, man, they got you sucked in. So my credit ended up going downhill, which I guess. I don't know. So between my credit and then I had friends that I was in the Police Explorers with that made some mistakes, and we're not going to go into details about that because that just wouldn't be right. But they made some mistakes, which was kind of an eye-opener for me, and that kind of changed my whole perspective on law enforcement. I decided it just wasn't.
Okay, so then how long do you do in the Army? How long are you in?
I'm not going to go into that either.
You're not going to tell me. You can't tell me how long you were in the Army for.
No, if I told you, I'd have to kill you.
Okay. Well, you're gonna have a hard time doing that, but okay. So then you move out of the then you come out of the Army, and then did Scotty mention that you were in EMS for a minute? You did a little.
No, I didn't really do that. I was going to. I went to a school down in Long Beach to be an EMT.
Oh, EMT. Okay.
And I'm not a fast learner. I mean.
Hey, grab my Diablo in the freezer.
Look, it took me 2 months riding with Scott. I just don't. Typically, I don't pick things up unless it's hands-on.
Yeah,
I'm a hands-on type of
I'm an
person.
apples and oranges myself. I have to,
So
I have to see what's going on.
I went to this course because my buddy's like, hey, you want to be an EMT? Come on down, because I needed a job.
Yeah.
So I'm like, sure, no problem, I can do this. Well, I took a course that was an accelerated EMT course. It was
An advanced.
Yeah, it was. I think it was like 6.
Did they already think you had like it was a course for like prior people that already had
No,
prior knowledge?
no.
Oh, no. All right.
No. It was a 6 or 8 week accelerated course. Now, normally, if you like go to a community college, it's a semester long.
Yeah.
I covered it. Maybe it was only 4 weeks. It might have only been 4 weeks.
Right.
I can't remember. But either way, I was not doing well. I was sucking. I was going home and I was writing notes. And let me tell you, my notes were pretty much page by page what was in the book.
Yeah.
Just because I'm a hands-on
rewriting
type
the
person.
book, yeah.
So in the class, because it's so rapid paced, there was no real hands-on during the course. It was all on the projector.
Yeah.
So you're sitting there writing notes all day long, day, for a couple hours a day. And I just wasn't grasping it.
That's the last thing you want to be bad at.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah,
that position
and
in
I
life.
got
You don't want to be
OCD.
bad at saving people.
Yeah, and I got OCD, so if I don't understand it thoroughly, I'm not gonna go for it. That's why I rode with you for so long, because it's like, okay, well, if I don't understand it, I'm not going out there and just looking like a fool. So, especially when you're dealing with somebody's life, I just know.
I'm sure there's.
I couldn't do it.
I'm
I'd be in there doing the wrong thing.
Right. No, but I'm sure there are like bad EMTs out there, like the worst of their fucking class, right? Like they always say, like there's a lot of surgeons have all their certificates of completion on the walls and stuff like that, but there's still a guy out there that in a class of 30 surgeons that graduated, there's the guy that was had the worst grades but still passed.
Of course, I'm sure.
Okay,
so I mean that's pretty much where we are today.
It's right. So here, like I said, so let's jump into this because Mike is he's our San Bernardino, Norco, Corona, Riverside, basically our Inland Empire, stringer on the team here. And like Scotty said in the intro, we're going to talk about the San Bernardino shootings. And Mike happened to be, working that day and out there in that area. So you covered the first San Bernardino shooting, which was a pretty gnarly story to be a part of and capture. So can we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, but I think first what we're going to do is we're going to talk Mike's first story, which will set up the San Bernardino stories for the most part. Right now, Mike is sitting on a bookend career. Started his career off with the biggest story of his life, and right now, the second/third biggest story of your life kind of thing. So Mike trained with me. Mike trained with me for about 2 months, sat in my car, and the very first night that I wanted Mike to go to work on his own, I said, I'll sit in the car with him. So I sat in the car with him. We chased a fire hydrant. He shot a little bit of it. I took the camera from his hand. I shot the rest of it. And then we were sitting in the car editing that. And as we were going through it, I looked at CHP and I noticed that there was a tour bus crash over on the Arizona-California border. It's about 2 hours, 2.5 hours from where Mike and I were. His house was closer to the other way than it was to that, and I couldn't go with him because that just would have ruined me for like 2 days. So I was like, take me back, and then I'll stay awake and I'll help you. So Mike's very first story, he took a trip out to the desert on his own by himself. Got there at 6:38, sent me 4 pictures, had those 4 pictures fed by 6:43. He had every channel by 6:48, and those were just off of pictures. And then he ended up doing video and got every single station, every single network, like the biggest story of his life. And how was that? How was that drive and stress, fun, first day story first?
That story was stressful. The drive, not so much. The drive was all right. But the story was stressful because, part of, shout out to Verizon, part of our job is, we need to be able to have internet access. And out in the desert, and it was my first story, I had no internet. I didn't have a little MiFi card. I had none of that. I had my computer and a camera. So here I am in the middle of nowhere filming, and I had to run from the scene to a Starbucks, back to the scene, back to a Starbucks, just to feed this stuff out. Because I was fearful that competition was going to show up and I was going to get beat. I didn't drive 2.5 hours, three hours, whatever it was, to get beat out by competition. But the story itself was an eye-opener for me. I mean, 5 people lost their lives that day, simply on a tour bus, on their way home from wherever they were heading home.
I think it was New Mexico.
I think so.
Yeah, I think it came from New Mexico. Well, I mean, it came from Mexico into New Mexico and then making its way to somewhere in your area.
Yeah. I believe ultimately they were heading to downtown Los Angeles because that's where the bus was out of.
That's right. You're right, because they did have live shots down here.
Yeah.
You're right.
But, I mean, these people were sleeping, and a semi-truck lost control, lost a load of piping all over the freeway, and the bus struck the piping, which overturned, killing the 5 people.
Was the bus full?
Yes.
Yeah, it's only 5 people out of the whole bus.
Yeah.
Killed.
Yeah. Which was an eye opener for me because I'd never up close seen anything like that.
Right.
And
were you close enough to see with the bodies covered, or was it pretty? I mean,
no.
by the time you got there?
They started covering the body. I mean, it took me 2.5 hours at least to get out there, so they had time to start.
No, but
So these are his pictures when he first got there. Channel 4 said, hey, we're about to go off the air. Can you send me some pictures? And these are the first pictures that Mike sent me, and then it goes into his video. And that was very nice of her to say, hey, can you send me some pictures? Because we were just going to do video.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, as soon as you get there, just take some pictures with your phone and send it to me. And then he started his video. So go ahead and explain your scene here.
So anyway, this is what I was talking about. This semi lost a load of piping. And
Talking to the mic, please.
oh my goodness. Okay. Oh, there is a TV right there. All right. So anyway, the semi lost control, lost its load of piping all over the 10 freeway. I believe it was westbound, and this tour bus struck the piping. I believe there was another. There's at least one other vehicle. I think there's 2 other vehicles that also struck the piping. But this tour bus, when it struck the piping, obviously it overturned and ended up. That's the right shoulder.
That's a body right there.
Well, yeah. I mean, you said he's going downtown.
That's
so
the
of course
right
he's heading
shoulder,
westbound.
and where you're looking at the CHP, that's more of a frontage road right there.
Is that a body right there, or is that just leftover? Yeah.
Yeah. And keep in mind, this is my first story, so
The biggest story of your career so far, and it's your first. Like,
It
I don't
is,
have my
and-
first story. I remember it. It was nothing like this. Todd remembers his first story. It was nothing.
It's not the biggest story of his career.
Hit wise, it is. And the
hit
way
wise.
world news goes, no, his terrorist story is obviously the biggest. But when it comes to hit wise, this was because. I mean, it's sad to say, but this tour bus.
Whatever. Until you change your mind and something else makes you say what it is.
I do the bills. I know how much money he made. This is the story he's made the most money on.
Yeah. Hey, who'd you sell my fucking Inglewood boys to?
Inglewood thing. It's a good question. I don't know. I'd have to look.
Obviously, the money hasn't come yet.
No. But anyways, so back to this. Like I said, I'll have to look.
So anyway, this is my first story. I didn't know. I mean, nowadays I try and not get the bodies. Part of that is just because I want to be respectful to the families. But there are times where you just can't help it. You just can't
but they're
help
covered.
it. No matter.
I mean,
I know, but
You know,
even with them covered, you still get a lot of backlash, and I just.
You know what?
It's a touchy thing to
It
cover.
is, but you know what though? Here, we get all the time. We get this on the last thing I shot. I get somebody that said, can you please remove that from YouTube or whatever? And it's like the faces and all that stuff. But when they're deceased, when it's not, those same people watch the news when other people are dying. And did they make a phone call and say, hey, you know what? I don't know those people,
Right.
but could you take that off? Could
Right.
you? So, but it's only when it's their people. And they're not. You're not shooting any faces. You're not shooting the gory part of it. Them separated all over the highway.
Right.
Sometimes we do pick up that kind of shot, and you let the channels know that that's graphic and all that stuff in there. But it's their decision. It's the
Right.
channel's decision to show or not show, or blur it out or not blur it out. So
Correct.
I mean, we're just like I said, we're just covering what happened. We're not trying to disrespect anybody. I get it. It's a touchy situation. You feel bad while you're out there. Of course, we all do. We have friends, we have family, moms, dads, but. What we're just covering, that's all we do. We're just covering the news. So
Yeah, this is Mike's first story. Anything about your footage stick out to you, Mike?
No.
No? Nothing that you can recall that...
why is it all in slow-mo?
I don't know. It's my first story. I probably put it in
How's
slow-mo.
your camera? You liking it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's
only
a
took you a
struggle.
full minute.
Because it's a struggle. Because one, it's completely different.
Yeah.
It's a JVC compared to the Canon.
Yeah.
So you're talking, to me, it's apples and
It's a
oranges.
different
because
interface,
It's
yeah.
totally different. There's
Yeah.
nothing similar to it.
Right.
And then everything, I just tell everybody, everything on that camera is manual. Because I tried, and I'm going to have to try it out the next story during the day. But I've tried putting it in full auto mode during the day like I used to do with my Canon.
Yeah.
And I could sit there and watch it all switch. This new camera is not so easy.
Yeah.
Put it in full auto, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Plus,
it's,
I can't tell. I can tell some.
Yeah, you
I
said
can
you said
tell.
about your viewfinders a little.
Yeah,
Like you can't tell
I
what's
can
going
tell
on.
if it's focused somewhat. But what I see on the screen, on the camera, is different than what actually appears.
Maybe our
on the
Inland
laptop.
Empire stringer needs glasses.
That could be. That could be, but let's not go there because we're not going to get glasses. I mean, the DMV says I need them, but we're not.
Well, the DMV says you need them.
Okay,
you
let's put it this
definitely
way.
need
The
them.
DMV told me last time, the next time you come in for your license, you're probably going to need glasses.
Well, there you go. Someone told you. You need.
But the reality, I don't believe them. I don't believe them because I'll tell you this much. I'm a firm believer in this for those of you out there. I'm a firm believer that if you need glasses and you go and get glasses right away, you're only making matters worse. You're only making matters worse. You want to know why? Because look at all these people that wear glasses. Every so many years, they got to go get a stronger prescription. The reason is because your eye is getting lazier and lazier because it's got the lens doing all the work for it.
But I wasn't aware that. Okay, so you was Army, EMT, and then optometrist.
Yeah, man, I've done it all. I've done it all. I have done it all. Yes.
All right. Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, if you're having a problem between looking in your viewfinder and then looking a little blurry, and then fucking looking out deep and things are blurry, you might need fucking glasses.
It's not that bad.
All right.
It's not that bad.
All right, so let's talk shooting.
Hold on,
shootings.
before we get into that,
All right.
there's a story I want to talk about.
Then, all right. There you go.
The story I want to talk about, and it's a story that has on it. It's they all say, everybody says that there's going to be one story that's going to stick with you, and for the most part, I've been able to block out a lot of stories. Like I don't let it affect me, but there was one story that affected me, and this story happened on the Cajon Pass. 5 kids in a PT Cruiser. What ended up happening was there was a dump truck coming down the Cajon Pass from the Victorville area, lost its brakes as he was exiting from the 15 south onto the 138. Failed to stop at the stop sign and took out this PT Cruiser with 5 teenagers in it. It pushed.
Is it underneath that?
Yeah.
It's pretty much the Mountain High
PT
exit.
Cruiser.
If you're exiting to go to
Yeah.
Mountain High.
Yeah, the PT Cruiser got pushed over through the intersection, down an embankment, and into the parking lot of this Shell gas station.
Look at that, Todd. There's a car underneath
There's
that
a
thing.
car underneath that thing.
Yeah.
And there was 5 teenage kids in
That's
it,
what
right?
happens when fucking
5.
dump truck hits you.
And when I got there, I was thinking, "There's no way anybody survived."
No way. Yeah, no.
But they pulled out at least 3
Full put together.
3.
They're still together.
Yeah. Pulled them out, transported them. I think 1 or 2 got transported by ground ambulance. One of them got transported by.
Still vitals. They were
Yeah,
still.
oh, yeah.
No kidding.
Only 2.
Imagine that though. They're
lost
sitting
their
they're
lives
sitting
that
there
day.
trapped
Yeah,
next to their friend saying, "Wake up, wake up."
Yeah, no
It's
shit.
fucking nuts, man.
So wait. So did anybody survive this?
3.
3 did. Wow.
3 did.
Wow.
And this was a rough one for me to cover.
This was kind of early in your career, right? You haven't even had a
Yeah.
year under your belt.
No. This
I mean, aren't we all early in the career, Scott?
Well, in his, it's 4 years, so it has anything within the first year or 2 is early. Anything in yours is early.
So-
if I got something yesterday, it's not early in my career.
So this one was the rough one for me.
Yeah.
And this is the one that will always haunt me. I mean, it was kids.
Yeah, I got one that haunts me, but we're not talking about that one today.
And then I did get a couple. I got an email from one of the parents,
Yeah.
and I was a little afraid to open that email, to be honest with you. Because
Well, yeah. I mean,
I kind of figured what was going to happen was they weren't going to be happy with the footage.
And
I honestly would not blame them at all.
well,
I mean,
what happened?
nobody wants to see
What's
this.
the-
Actually, the mother was thanking me
No
for
kidding.
being there and
Yeah.
documenting
Yeah.
what happened to her son, because she couldn't get there that day.
See, that's the thing. That's the other side of it. It's like, we know that we all know that there are going to be people. We've seen it on our YouTube channel and the Facebooks that people are. I mean, genuinely, hey, fuck you, take this down.
Right.
And we understand that. But what I'm saying is what you understand is like Look, we're not there to disrespect anybody, and we're just, like we said, we're just talking right now. Like, it's genuinely hard for us too. We have friends, we have families. We don't want to see this happen to any of your children,
Right.
But like, it's like when people like when they die in like in plane crashes or the one that came out of Malaysia and you don't know what happened
Right.
to your loved ones,
Right.
At least, like I said, that parent was like, you know what, as hard as it is, firemen, police, everybody was, you guys were there. It's documented. It's I know, it was a tragic thing, but at the same time, like I said, we're not there on any, we're not there for like any, ill, gotten gains. We're not trying to, we're just this is what this job is, right, Mike?
Right.
I mean,
Right.
we're
Absolutely.
just covering. We just
Absolutely.
cover.
And that's one thing I've learned is, I'm there and I'm like, oh man, I don't want to cover this story. But ultimately, this is what I tell people, and I try and live by this, is that we as stringers, we as anybody in the media, have an obligation to the public.
Right.
And that is to get the story to them,
Right.
and get them the facts.
Yeah.
Not just hearsay stuff. We try and get them the facts.
And we
And
give
sometimes
the facts.
sometimes the facts change as we're told because we're Johnny on the spot a lot.
Yeah,
of
yeah,
times.
we're putting it
So
together as
we're
yeah.
told facts that are occurring right then and there.
Right.
And,
And
by
they-
the time the afternoon
Yeah, they could all
comes,
change.
the story could change completely.
Right.
And people need to understand that, as the investigation goes on, the facts do change.
Right.
I would say 90% of the time facts change.
Yeah.
I can't stand it. I can't stand it.
Yeah.
I just turned it.
But the other thing that I've noticed is doing this job is it's always the people that aren't involved that have a problem with the footage.
Right.
When it comes to
Bystanders. and-
fatalities and
yeah.
stuff, it's always the people that aren't involved that have a problem with the footage.
I don't
I've
want my
never-
friend to see this, or I'm afraid
Yeah, I have
they might come
never-
across this or something like that. My
Right.
answer to that is Howard Stern.
Right.
If you don't want to hear him, fucking change him. If you don't want to see the footage, turn it.
Don't go searching
And if your
for it.
if your family or friend does find it, it's because they were looking for it.
Right. But here's the thing too is I personally have never had a family member send me a message, and I deal with our Facebook all the time. I've never had a family member send me a message saying, take this down. Every family member that has ever contacted me has always said, thank you for this. It's a way of closure. I don't know if I could do it. I don't know if I would go, if something happened to a friend or a family member of mine, I don't know if I'd want to see it. But I've talked to a lot of people. They feel the opposite. It brings them some, because they weren't there when it happened, and it's their final moment.
You know the closure's there. If you know what we do and you know our channel's there, the closure's there. You don't have to look at it. You don't have to, put the thumb up or the like or dislike, however that works. But when people leave the comments, it's just like, look, man, I get where you're coming from, but this is not going to change what we do. It's not going to change the fact that the news is going to go ahead and put it on blast for, their 4 o'clock afternoon show news and then the 7 o'clock. Like you said, Mike, we are the guys that are first, the first responders with cameras. And whether, okay, the dump truck, maybe, there's the downgrade coming from Victorville, has rocks on it, or loose gravel or oil slick, But you're right. The information that we put out as fast as we can, it gives the community around us that picks up on it right away, saying, "Look, there's a problem in the neighborhood here.
Right.
There's a problem there." And like I said, sometimes it's kids get killed in car accidents, but it's also sometimes that there's a live shooter, there's an active shooter in the neighborhood, and that's okay. So why? And when you're able to throw that out right there, people can get that, and that to me, right? That's a pretty helpful tip of what's going on in your neighborhood.
Absolutely.
But LOUDLABS is out there on the scene right away and sends out something in 15 minutes to our channel or the news that says, hey, man, we got a problem in the neighborhood.
It's also a little educational. I have it's more of a, not educational, but it's a warning. Like I had a story of a drowning. And the kid had already been transported. I got the ambulance leaving, and I went into the neighbor's yard and shot the pool. Just the pool with the wet water over there. And as I was walking out, the officer's like, good job you have there. Nice job you have there. Way to go. And I was like, do you know how many parents are going to watch their kids tomorrow even closer because of this story? Yes, we're exploiting the fact that happened, but at the same time, we do good with our footage by showing that. And if you have a kid and you see on the news that somebody just drowned in their backyard pool, you're going to pay a little more attention to your kid the next time he goes near your pool or whatnot.
Fucking drain the pool.
And the reality is, I mean, there are incidents where at the time, and maybe for weeks to come, nobody wants to see it. Nobody wants to deal with it. It's raw emotion.
Right.
Like the 2 Palm Springs police officers that were shot and killed. When William went out there and covered that story, I guarantee you, if he would have put, the hospital shots right away on Facebook and stuff like that, because we didn't post it right away, the hospital shots. Yeah. I kept those out, and the reason is because those are all raw emotion, and you got to have some sort of.
No, we do hold back, right?
You got to hold back, and you got to think about, because it's not just about going out there shooting it and getting it out. It's also about being mindful of who's going to see it.
Right.
And ultimately, I like to think, timing. Timing is a big part of this.
Yeah.
And because I like to think of law enforcement and firefighters and EMTs as friends of mine.
Right.
I may not know you, but if I go to a scene, you got to know that I am on your side.
Right.
If I can
help you, you can help me.
If I can put you in a good light, you best believe
we do that.
That's
what we do.
Yeah.
And we have videos on our YouTube channel that celebrate those heroes.
Right. We're not looking for the next Rodney King.
No,
we're looking to show the heroes. Looking to show the real life superheroes that the world.
Now, sometimes you pick things up. Yeah, our lens picks things up like that, but that's not what we're doing. We're just covering the facts.
And that's what happened with the Palm Springs thing. Is when we withheld some of that hospital footage, it was intentional for me. It was an intentional act that I withheld that footage. But when we did our tribute to the IE police and fire departments, that footage is in there. Yeah. The reason for that is because now enough time has passed, and a lot of people want to see it. Yeah, they just didn't want to see it then.
Right. No, it's the
but
timing
now
of everything.
Now it's like, okay, time has passed. Emotions have settled down. Let's take a look.
Yeah.
It's to me, again, you're right. It's all about the timing.
Yeah.
When it gets released and when it doesn't. So anyway, we were talking about active shooters.
Right. Let's get into
Yeah.
so.
Which
Which one do you want to talk about first, Mike?
No, well, let's talk about the first one.
the recent
Let's-
one?
Yeah, no. The
first
first one.
one?
Let's talk about that one, and I want to know let's just go jump into it. Like the call comes out, and where do you what's happening from the minute you're in?
Well, when the call came out, honestly, I was at home in bed. And for me, I don't like to jump out of bed and run to a scene because half the time I'm always chasing the 8-ball for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Because by the time you get there, it's an old story,
Yeah.
and then you're just running from old story to old story. So
Right.
I don't like doing that. But on this one, I instantly, as I was getting ready, I pulled up the Broadcastify app and I was listening to what was going on. And
You knew about it before I hit you up, right?
Yeah.
Or yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because everybody started hitting me up about this story. And so as I was getting ready, listening to the Broadcastify, my heart was already pumping. I already knew that I was going
How close
into
are
a
you to this?
pretty.
How close?
I live probably 30 minutes from here.
Okay.
But
You got there in 5.
well, can we edit?
That's a LOUDLABS helicopter.
Yeah, yeah.
The LOUDLABS helicopter.
Let's edit that out. Nobody wants a ticket. But no, soon as I got there, I could tell this was a serious situation, and I didn't have any protection. The only protection I had was my camera, and I like to run around in my little vest that says press on it, and press on the back, and press on the hat, and all this stuff. And the reason for that is because I don't want law enforcement, because of the car I drive for work. I don't want them to think that I'm trying to impersonate anybody. So
Right, no. Yeah,
I
yeah.
intentionally deck myself out in press.
That's what we do.
Just so that way,
right.
there's
we're
there's
not
no
pretending to be anybody.
right. And I'm not trying to use the car to get into situations. I know some people do, not LOUDLABS, of course.
Speak for yourself.
Okay. But I don't use the car to get into scenes because it just gets you in trouble. I don't want to get locked in.
okay.
I've known competition that gets in and they get locked in.
Oh, fuck them. So what I'm saying is that you get there in 5 minutes, and do you go right to the medical center? That's where you show up first to?
I tried to get as close as I could to the medical center.
Okay.
What ended up happening was
how many hours have gone? How long is this scene? How long has it been going on by the time you get there?
by the time I get here, it's probably been active for about 40 minutes.
40 minutes, under an hour still.
Yeah.
Okay.
Under an hour.
And he's still on the loose.
I know that.
Yeah,
He's still on the loose at this
both
point.
of them.
All his victims are pretty much
Both.
shot, right?
Well,
Both. There's two shooters.
There's 2 shooters.
Him and his wife.
Him and his
But
wife.
all the victims that they shot at the workplace have already been shot, and they're just in the middle of transporting and still looking for this
Right,
dude, right?
yes.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And this is starting to all kind of play out on live TV.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
As
yeah.
I get there, there is so much chaos there. I mean, so many news vans and everything started showing up. And the first thing out of their mouth was, "What footage do you have?" I'm like, "I just got here. Give me a minute,
Yeah.
and I'll go find some." Like these people here, I had to walk down some train tracks. This church right here is directly across from where the shooting took place. And
What did you guys hear? What did you see here this afternoon?
Nancy's pretty professional.
yeah. And the funny thing is she didn't want to go on camera. He did, but then she kind of hijacked it and took it.
Okay, so.
But anyway, no. The thing is like I hiked down these railroad tracks and I found this church and I just started knocking on doors, and they answered the door and they were nice enough to speak with me and tell me what they heard and what they saw. And as I was filming them, because mind you, I still had the Broadcastify going, and I could hear that they had a suspicious vehicle directly behind that church. There's I think it's like a golf course or something like that directly behind that church. So you've got the this is Waterman. So on one side of Waterman, you've got the
Medical center.
I don't. It's not really a medical center. It's the inland. I'm gonna get it wrong.
It was a medical center. I thought it was like some
no,
sort of
it's well they At that
It's like a
building, they
plaza
have
or-
probation.
I'm pausing it right here for a reason.
Yeah, they have probation officers at that building because
Okay.
it's like where probation is. They've got county health
Oh, that's
and
It was,
county.
right? It was a
County-
county,
yeah,
it was a
health
county
center,
building.
yeah.
Yeah,
County health
it
center.
is
Yeah,
it's a
got it.
county building, but it's not like it's where they do like when I say county health, it's more like
Administrative. It's
yeah, and it's more like where they do like your restaurant gradings and stuff like that.
records and all that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not like a medical clinic where
Yeah, no,
patients come in and out. But anyway, on one side of Waterman, you've got that where the active shooting took place. On the other side, you've got the church. Directly behind that church is a golf course, and I was hearing that they had a suspicious vehicle in that parking lot of the golf course that was loaded with weapons.
Okay.
Now, whether that was accurate, I don't know. So I started running towards that.
You
that
wrap
golf
up.
course.
You wrap up this.
Yeah,
this
I wrapped
interview.
it up, started running towards that golf course, and it's all fenced in. So
Or you were running to your car, or are you just doing this all by foot?
All by
You're
foot.
close enough to go by foot
Yeah,
on
all
this
by
with your
foot.
camera. Okay.
yeah, all by foot. So
And one of the things that we're taught as stringers is to be not where the networks are.
right.
And so by this time, all the networks had made their way to the school, or not school, I'm sorry,
Yeah, but
to
they-
the
but like
Well,
the
they
county
made,
center.
They all made it. They all made it to Inland Empire and Waterman. Nobody could actually get to where the actual shooting
health
took
center.
place.
I mean, they had that all taped off.
Other than one news organization did get in there. We're not gonna.
was
talk
was it
about
NBC or on scene?
No, it wasn't on scene.
Okay, so it was NBC.
No.
No?
All right. Well, if you're gonna bring it out, I'll just
Yeah.
bring it out. It was Tyrone from News Pro News.
Okay.
He was Johnny on the spot. He was actually
Well,
there.
he knows all those guys.
That
He has a
footage-
good
the footage
reputation
where
in San
you saw
Bernardino.
the SWAT officers, and I was filming. That's where I was filming from the church. Tyrone from News Pro News was right there.
He also lives in San Bernardino, so he
Yes.
got there before
Yeah.
they figured out that this is a big deal,
Right.
And started kicking people out,
Right.
And you just kind of stay small and fit in.
Exactly. Well, I couldn't stay small and fit in because all the news were there, and they started taping everything
But,
off.
the,
and-
but like Scotty also tells me, like the news will always just camp out in that one fucking area. They
Yeah.
don't. They don't hunt and
No,
they don't.
Yeah.
They're getting paid. They don't give
Yeah.
a fuck. They'll sit there by that fucking tape all night long.
Right.
You
and
know,
with
so-
me,
no, we
and
gotta
with all
move.
of
We
us,
gotta
we're
move.
out.
We gotta move.
No, you know that's one thing that Scott taught me.
Yeah.
was
Move.
do the 360.
Yeah,
if
wrap
you
it.
if you
Wrap
gotta do what you got to do to get a 360 of that
Yep.
of that scene. Don't get the same shot because I mean you're filming 2 minutes of the same shot. They're only going to use 10 seconds of it. And,
Maybe.
you just wasted your time because
Yeah.
you shot the same thing for 2
So
minutes.
did you go to
now.
the golf course and see
So
the
I
spot?
tried to get to the golf course. I met up with another cameraman. I don't know who he was with because I really wasn't paying attention. He
Yeah.
told me his name. He introduced himself, but I was too busy. And I found a hole in the fence. And I'm like, normally I wouldn't do this, but I'm like, with a story like this,
You gotta go.
I've got to go. So I squeezed through this hole in the fence, and the other guy's like, hey, do you mind if I go with you? I'm like,
I'm not your fucking mom.
go ahead. I mean, you can come with me if you want. So we went through this hole in the fence, and we started getting up to the golf course, to this parking lot, and Homeland Security stopped me
Yeah.
and said,
How
you
many
can't-"
officers?
They're like, you can't be here. There was 4 of them.
4 of them.
They're like, you can't be here. I'm like, well, why not? They're like, well, because this is a crime scene. And I'm like, well.
Where's your tape?
Yeah, that's when I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
well,
you
where's your tape? And I try and, I'm going through the whole spill.
Keeping the record button on, trying to,
Yeah,
give
and
like one last pick
I
up.
truly hate doing
I
that.
know, yeah.
It totally sucks. But ultimately, they have a job to do, and I have a job to do, and
by that-
sometimes these jobs clash.
And by that time too, you're just like, okay, this angle's fucking burned. I
Right,
gotta move. This,
right.
you gotta get out of there.
Right.
So it's only take this
So
guy
there's-
will sit there all day long and be like, no, I'm fucking right.
Sometimes I do. Sometimes
I
I
get
do.
it. I don't
if,
like
if,
it.
there- if there's no other place for me to be.
No, I get it.
Well,
Yeah,
if
yeah.
I'm bored, I'll do that.
Right.
Sometimes I
Right.
have
That's
to
what I
make
meant. That's what I'm saying.
stance.
You gotta move. So
But this was such a big scene.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking.
yeah,
It is ginormous,
dude, fucking
So
huge.
I'm like, okay,
Things
cool,
are happening,
whatever.
and it's still live,
But-
and it's all still live going down at
right.
the moment.
And to be honest with you, it was for me as a cameraman, it was a blessing in disguise that they kicked me
Yeah,
off
yeah.
of there because
'Cause you
as
went
I
and
was
got
getting
them.
back in the car to feed out is when I heard this pursuit.
Yeah, so
of the suspect.
hold on a second. So I know you guys are going to give me the dirty face for this, but I predicted this during Thanksgiving. Mike and I were sitting across from each other, and we were talking about if the U.S. is going to get hit on the West Coast, it's going to happen in the IE.
Right.
And one of the things I said, I go, hey, Mike, even if you don't get the actual thing, the suspects lives somewhere in the IE. Go to the suspect's house. And God damn it,
Thank God.
It happened.
Thank God we have you, right, Scott?
it happened in the IE, and he was sitting in his car and he heard the pursuit, and he's like, the suspects live somewhere. I need to go to their house. And even after this little incident happened that we're about to talk about, you ended up going to their house and getting more hits and stuff like this. So this shot right here, I love this shot.
I don't.
Mike hates it, and he's going to explain
hate
why right now. Explain why you hate this shot, Mike.
All right, so before we get to this shot, I was actually at Waterman and Inland Empire when I think that's Inland Empire. I think it is Inland Empire. So I was sitting at the intersection. Well, they have the entire intersection blocked off because there's so much media there that the cops are like, I mean, you could not continue eastbound on Inland Empire. Well, the pursuit. I believe this is Tippecanoe. The pursuit was happening on Tippecanoe. The quickest shot for me to get there is to go through that intersection that they had completely blocked off. I'm like, I can't. So I had to do a U-turn, go back another block or two, shoot up to the next major street, which might have been San Bernardino, I can't remember. And then I made a right and went down to Tippecanoe, made a right, and now I'm in the pursuit, right?
So-
I'm in with all these units.
You see the island right here? How all those guys are going the wrong way? I'm going to play it. You ready? Go for it.
That's what I hate. That island right there is my worst enemy because normally I drive my truck. I had just gotten this Crown Vic. I can't jump that island in that Crown Vic.
No, you
I
can't.
could have jumped it in my truck.
Tear your oil
Where
pan off.
are all these guys going?
They are making a left right now because right now they're pursuing the two shooters.
The SUV.
Yeah,
The
the two shooters, literally, just before I got stopped at that intersection, they had just, because they were coming from, say...
they were coming from their house, and they went back to their house.
Yeah, but they were going northbound on Tippecanoe. I was going southbound on Tippecanoe with all these other units, because Redlands PD had initiated the pursuit.
Yeah.
So it was coming from, like, the Redlands area. So they were coming up Tippecanoe, and they made a right onto...
And all this is playing out live on TV, and I'm hearing reports. Mike is telling me, "Hey, I'm jumping through yards. I'm going here. I'm in this guy's backyard." And the reports on TV are suspects are jumping fences in backyards. And I'm sitting there telling Mike, "Dude, be careful. You're not the suspect." Because literally they stopped, and the guys didn't get out to have the shootout, but they didn't know that they didn't get out to have a shootout. So there's reports that suspects are jumping fences. As I'm getting text messages from Mike, "Hey, I'm jumping fences." But Mike was obviously hanging out with the right guys.
But
That's a lot of guns there.
As much as I hate that center island shot, I have to believe that
Well, that CNN
that
played
it
the shit out of
actually
that one.
it actually saved me. To be honest with you, because as soon as I got stuck in that spot and all the units flew around me, honestly, I was in a Crown Vic. I probably could have went wrong way along with all of them because I know all the other news media did.
Yeah.
But I got stuck in that thing. But luckily I did because I didn't have any kind of protection at the time. I do now. Thanks, Mom and Scott. But at the time, I didn't have any kind of protection. I didn't have any bulletproof vest or the plate carrier that I got now that's like 80 pounds. But as I was stopped there, as soon as all those officers made that left, I could hear the gunfire.
Yeah.
Bah, 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 bah. And I'm like, oh. To me, it was a blessing in disguise.
You never got to the suspect's house where because the cops ended up going there.
Well, they shot and killed him first in that little shootout SUV thing, and then after that, when the sun went down, they found out who they were, and then they went to their house.
That's what I'm saying. I know. That's what I'm saying.
I never went to their house.
Residence.
No.
So when this is happening, they already left their house, and now the cops know where they are, and now they're pursuing them.
Because the cops already kind of had an idea who it was.
Yeah.
Because of the witnesses at
the health center. Yeah.
Right. So they kind of had an idea already who they were. So they went and sat on the house. Well, they saw the vehicle drive by. They followed it, and a pursuit took place.
That's where it starts.
And this is where it ended. It actually ended on San Bernardino.
So I was going to ask you, how close did you get to after you heard the gunfire just going down after they made that turn as pursuing the SUV? How close did you make it to? I
got really close, but something inside me said, "That's it." Like,
don't go any further.
Don't go any further.
Every helicopter's overhead. What could you get?
What I did was I stopped because I parked my car and I ran up.
Yeah.
and I didn't know any other media was there. I saw a guy.
What is that?
Laying on the
Oh,
ground.
never mind. I can see what it is.
Wow. I saw a guy laying on the ground with a long-range
one of those
lens
Bradleys.
on his camera. And I didn't know who he was, but I'm like, this guy's crazy. I kind of find out he's a photographer for the Press Enterprise. I'm crazy. He's crazier, and you're crazier. During that incident, that was it for me. Like,
Well, and
I
plus,
turned around, I got back in my car, and
live
I
rounds
moved.
are flying. Live rounds are flying.
Yeah,
You know,
I
it's-
moved because, look, I mean, yeah, I want to get the shot, but I don't want to end up dead.
Right.
But come to find out, my competition actually got to the same spot that I got to.
Before you or prior?
Prior to me, because he didn't get stopped at that damn center median.
Yeah, okay.
I got stopped in the center median. So he ended up getting there right at this intersection, this corner here. I'm in a business complex. A business complex that's gated. I'm shooting through the wrought iron bars here.
Okay.
The competition's actually out on San Bernardino. He's not on the property. I went on the property because I didn't want PD to tell me I had to leave.
Yeah.
I figured, well, if I'm on the property
Right.
and the property owners tell me I can be here, then I'm good.
Okay, so
I'm
sir,
golden.
during this time, have they already unloaded and
Oh, yeah, yeah.
killed them? I mean, they're
Yeah.
already dead in the
Yeah.
SUV.
Yeah.
Because the helicopter shots kind of had that. They, of course, they adjust their angles so you can't see the dead bodies. But
when I was stopped at that center median is when all the gunfire
that's
was
all
happening.
the firepower happening,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So they're unloading
Yeah.
on the car that they already kind
Yeah.
of stopped on that little side street
Yeah.
right there where they
Yeah.
pulled up to in that
Yep.
little, in front of the houses there.
Yep. So by the time I got around that whole mess,
It had
there,
already gone down.
it had already gone down.
But
But
the-
I wasn't sure if
Right.
there was more shooters because there was
Or pipe bombs or
there
whatever,
was
you know, what
traffic
they're worried
that
about.
one
Yeah,
of
yeah.
them had left the vehicle
Right.
and was jumping through
Yeah,
these yards.
Right. Yeah, I remember
So
that. Yeah.
if I would have known that both of them were already down,
You would have been.
it would have been a
crawling,
totally
moving,
different
moving.
story. But I knew that one of them was still, or what we thought one of them was still on the loose.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm crazy, but I'm not.
Dumb.
I don't.
No,
like
I
to consider
I
myself
totally look.
dumb.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Like this shooting was like it was all happening live on TV, and once we all knew that you were at it, I mean, we were all we were glued to the TV. I mean, everybody in the nation was, Southern California was glued to the TV watching this thing go down. But I mean, we all knew that Mike was there, so like. And we haven't really ever talked about this that much, So I was just wondering. I was always wondering, like, how close did you get to that, like to where it was going down? Because as they turned that corner down that side street, and they were still. I mean, the overhead cameras were still, like you said, you heard the gun bolt, the firing going on, but we were watching it from. I mean, you couldn't see the camera angle was like on top of the car,
Right.
So you saw the windshield getting loaded up, like they were shooting at them.
Yeah.
So I never knew how close. I mean, were you already parked on the street watching it from or listening down the way, or did you show
By
up
the
to the
time-
side
yeah.
street when they were killed?
All the gunshots had already been done and over with by the
Yeah.
time I made it down that side street because of that center median.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, you could look at it. I look at it.
It's a blessing.
In two aspects. One, I'm kind of upset because I missed the shot. As a cameraman, you want that
Right.
shot.
Yeah.
But on the other side of me, I'm like, okay, well, that was a blessing in disguise.
but
'Cause as soon as they turned the car, as soon as they turned that
they
corner,
started
man,
it.
it was
It was
just
on.
like you could hear it.
It was on. Yeah.
And so I'm like, well, I'm lucky that
Yeah.
I didn't turn the corner.
Because I mean, did any officers get hit? Did you know of? Was anybody?
One officer got, from what I recall, and I could be completely wrong, but I do believe a officer with San Bernardino PD was hit by a ricochet.
Okay.
And I believe it was in the foot. I don't think it was
A
anything.
direct hit?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think it was.
I mean, there's
direct hit. I don't
there was a
think it
lot of
was-
rounds between them, the suspects, and the PD, all the PD there. I mean, there was hundreds of rounds
Yeah.
flying.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man.
I mean, the competition, like I said, they got stuck on the street.
Yeah.
And that was the other thing. I'm friends with one of my competition, two of them. Because we as stringers have to stick together out there because sometimes we're the only ones out there. So you break down or whatever, you need
fuck
help.
them. I'll come get you, Mike.
So, but the reality is, he was telling me that he got stuck. He had to leave his car there overnight.
Oh, in the scene?
Oh yeah,
Right.
Yeah, because he pulled his car up right behind all the units.
And then the tape goes up.
But then all the tape went up,
Yeah,
and they're like,
and you're
"Sorry,
fucked,
Charlie."
yeah.
And he's like, "Well, can I at least?" They're like, "Nope, nope."
I've
You're stuck.
gotten my car out of 2 crime scenes by being nice and talking my way out of it. But I mean, especially something like this. I mean, I can understand when they're like, no, dude, we got this. I mean, we got way too much shit going on here.
Yeah.
I mean, evidence. We don't even know where all the evidence is right now. So, no, your car's staying over fucking night.
He had to lock his car up, and you know the thing is he lives up in Apple Valley.
Right.
So you're talking locking your car up.
So did you take him home?
No, no, I didn't even know the guy at the time. I knew I didn't like him at the time because he was my competition. That's all I knew.
Yeah.
But you know, I give all my competition the benefit of the doubt. You know, if I ask you questions about, hey, did you get this? Did you get that? And if you're honest with me, we're golden. If I find out you lied to me, that's it. Like, that's it.
That's where the trust bridge collapsed.
Yeah. And that's the problem with, you know, some of the competition is that they like to exaggerate the stories. And
no.
To me, it's like, okay, you're talking to another cameraman.
Yeah.
You're not talking to Joe Schmo with straight. I don't care what your exaggeration
but
is.
who you're talking to is a bunch of fucking pretenders.
Yeah. That's true. Let's be honest. You know who you are. But yeah, I mean that was a crazy day that day.
Did you go out at night? Did you film at night too? Did you go back to like as the scene?
No,
I mean, because I know all the networks are already there by then. But
Yeah,
how far did you carry on, and how many when did you stop?
I mean, it got dark early.
Yeah.
I think I stopped at 5 or 6 o'clock.
Right.
It was just I just had enough. I've been out in the sun. I'm a white guy. I work nights. I'd been out in the sun for way too long, and when I get sunburned, I become completely drained of any kind of energy, and it's just like
Probably really irritable.
I need to go home. And there were so many. That day it was so hectic.
Yeah.
There were so many other calls that came out. I mean, there was a call that came out of an active shooter at the Amazon distribution center.
I remember that.
Right down the street.
Right.
And you had to go to it.
Yeah, and it turned out to be false.
Right.
So a lot of other calls
were
jumping off, and it was taking law enforcement away from actual events that were actually taking place, because now they're having to search these buildings.
For no reason.
And Amazon distribution center is not false.
No, but it was topical news, and as stringers go, that's kind of what we're searching for, because you're not going to find anything. Like, there was no other news after that for a while. It's just like 9/11. There was no other news after 9/11 for a while. Yeah. And so I was going through this the other day, so correct me here. This is the third terrorist attack on our country? Because the first one, 93? Well, I mean, what do you call Boston. So, I mean, you have... You have the Trade Center in 93, then you have the Trade Center in 01, you got the Boston guys, and you got this. So is this 4?
I would consider this.
It's the 4th terrorist attack, because Boston was a terrorist attack, right? It was just homegrown terrorists.
But
Same with
I
this
think
one,
Boston happened after San Bernardino, didn't it?
I think it did. But
so San Bernardino would have been the 3rd that I know of, and then I think Boston happened after San Bernardino.
Gotcha.
But actually, I mean, technically, I mean, if you want to get it, okay, well,
I do. That's what I was curious
if
about.
If you want to get technical, I mean,
is this the second, or is this the?
This would be more actually, because you've got Timothy McVeigh too in Oklahoma. He was a homegrown, and he
you have
he took
the
out
Unabomber and
the what was it, the federal building there.
Yeah.
I mean, with all those kids and.
Yeah, so it's like, because people say that this is the biggest since, or this is the second, or
I
it's
think
like,
what
is it considered?
I think what so I think what it was as far as outside influence, I guess, like ISIS and stuff like that. Because Timothy McVeigh had nothing to do with ISIS. He didn't
even exist then.
Yeah, he was his own. He was his own. He was his own crazy. But I think part of it too is I think San Bernardino, and I could be totally wrong. That's why I'm kind of hesitating to say it. But I think San Bernardino was at the time the second most fatal terrorist attack on U.S. soil.
Gotcha.
I believe is what it was. I could be wrong.
That sounds about right, because I know number 2 is involved somewhere. I just didn't know if it was what it was. Because I was thinking about it the other day, and then
I think they were saying that San Bernardino was
Boston came into mind, and the first building Twin Towers came to mind, so it makes kind of sense on that.
I could be wrong. I'm just.
All right. Well, did we jump into the second shooting yet?
Which is the most recent.
Yeah.
So no, we haven't.
So let's jump into that.
Let me. Actually, it doesn't matter. Like I said, Scott will make things good. So
right. We could make this a 3-hour, 4-hour broadcast, or we could just.
Yeah. So here we are with. That's our second. Talk about it. You were already out and about, were you not?
No.
No, you were at home. Because weren't you and I talking, doing something?
I was at home, but I'd already gotten. We started talking later. I was already on my way here.
But we were talking about something, and then this came out. So I knew that you were up and about. What was it?
I might have been up and about, but I really wasn't up and about because I was in bed. I was in bed. I just worked that night. Prior to this, I'd covered that crazy man in the Stater Brothers with a shotgun in Ontario.
All right. I don't. Wait. So Mike, what's happening here? I don't know anything about the story. I mean, I know what happened, but what's going on? What's the call?
So
what's the call here?
This call came out as an active shooter at an elementary school in San Bernardino.
Mm-hmm.
That poor city cannot get a break.
Yeah.
But like I said, that was the original call. Was the active shooter at the elementary school? It was North Park Elementary School. It's on the north end of the city of San Bernardino. But what ended up happening was a disgruntled husband went and shot and killed his wife. Who was a teacher at that school.
Yeah.
And while as soon as he entered the classroom, he opened fire with a revolver, striking and killing his wife, along with he also struck two boys that were standing or sitting behind his
Children.
wife in the classroom. Yes.
Were they? How many were they killed?
One
One
8-year-old boy was killed. A 9-year-old was transported to a hospital.
So the 9-year-old the teacher, and did he turn the gun on himself?
He did.
He
ended up killing himself.
Suicide.
Yeah.
Which is the best thing for everybody involved.
And it actually that's a good point that you make up. It is
fucking A, dude. Imagine if your kid got shot. You'd be going to jail for shooting somebody.
I know, but
that's how that works.
Aside from that, this is the point that I want to touch on. Just to give a shout out to law enforcement. I don't care who you are, military, law enforcement. Honestly, the best thing that could have happened in that scenario was that guy taking himself out. Because as a cop, you don't want to kill anybody either. You have to live with that. That's taking a life, good, bad, or indifferent. It's taking a life, and none of us, unless we've ever taken a life, will never understand the torment that you're going to go through. After that, why do you think that after officer-involved shootings, they're put on administrative leave?
Sure. No,
they go through counseling and stuff like that. They got to make sure that they're okay to return back to duty. So as much as I'm always like, oh man, I wish law enforcement could have stepped in there and taken this guy out. On the flip side of that, that means you're asking another human being, just because they wear a badge, you're asking another human being to take another person's life. That cannot be easy. That's going to have emotional torment on law enforcement. Look, law enforcement already sees enough drama and crap.
No, I get it. This guy
suicide rate among cops is crazy, especially after they retire. So I would never wish.
No, but this guy already made his decision. He knew what he was going to do.
Well, of course.
He was. You can't. You can't, and that's the one thing too. I was going to mention, about the first story and this story is that all these, these people want less guns in the world, and and they think it would be safer. Or then there's some people in the camp that think it'd be a safer world if more people were casual carry, and you had teachers holding guns and all that stuff. You're not going to stop any of this bad stuff. This that's the word. That's what the fucking definition of the word random means.
Right.
This all jumps off randomly. We get the call. We drive as fast as we can to get there. We shoot it, and we feed it to the news. All this shit is random.
Yep.
It randomly happens, and it goes like this every fucking moment to moment. And you're not going to stop these things from happening. It's just the way of the world. It's us as human beings. This is what we do as human beings.
So right here in this shot, I knew something was up. That's the first Bearcat that left the scene.
Yeah.
The second one, maybe it already went through. The second one didn't have anybody standing on top, but it was just the open turret, and they had turned, and they were both going southbound on H, so they're going away from the school, and I'm like, something's up.
Okay, so
Yeah, why would the guys with the guns be leaving the school?
But that's what I was asking you. Where did he leave the
No,
school?
He
Where
shot
did
and
he
killed
off
himself
at?
in the classroom.
In the classroom.
Yeah.
So it all went down right in
It
there.
all happened, and you know, I wasn't there, but I can just tell you from witnesses.
Because I saw they had a car taped off also in the parking lot.
His car.
That was his car?
Yeah, they found out his car.
Okay, so where's the Bearcat going then with guns drawn?
That's what I wanted to find out.
Yeah.
So I said, well, you know what? Hey, I'm parked, you know, a little ways down because, again, part of my training from him was never get stuck in a scene.
Yeah,
And I've
leave your
seen
car,
so many
run
of my
it.
competition
You know
get
what?
stuck in
You know,
scenes. It's
and
crazy.
Just real quick. You know what? I've seen all of our competition. Like I'll run a half a mile up into a freeway
me too.
to go get a shot, and
Me
I've
too.
seen every one of these fucking dicks get caught in their car and fucking having arguments and talk to these fucking cops. They're like, "Hey, quit smoking cigarettes and get a little fucking exercise, man."
Right.
You know,
it ain't gonna hurt you to you know, park a little ways back,
Jog in, motherfucker.
and walk in or jog in or whatever you need to do. So anyway, I said, well, you know what? I'm gonna go feed part 2. So I ran back down to my car, started feeding out part 2, and I'm listening to the scanner, and all I hear was San Bernardino PD had put out that their tactical team was switching to attack channel, and that they were going to send their tactical team to the city of Riverside to the shooter's address.
Oh, okay, that's what.
And I'm like, ooh. But again, they switched to a tactical channel, so they're encrypted.
Yeah.
So I couldn't hear. And because all the news media was there, including their helicopters, San Bernardino PD played this one pretty close to the chest, because they even said, they told the helicopter 40 King, they said, hey, look, stay in that area until our SWAT team is on scene in Riverside, because we don't want any followers.
Sure. Right.
Wow.
So at that point, I was supposed to go meet a CAL FIRE buddy of mine, because I just literally jumped out of bed. I'm dying of thirst here. Mouth is all dry. I'm like, I need something to drink. So I was gonna go. He came up to me. He's also he's a captain with CAL FIRE out of Norco, but he came up to me, and he's also a terrorist liaison. And at this point, they weren't sure what was going on. I mean, everybody was notified about this active shooter situation. So he came up to me, and he's like, "Hey, you know, let's go grab a soda." I was like, "Absolutely, let's go." It was hot. I'm in a sweater. I literally just crawled out of bed and just threw whatever.
Do you live in Riverside? Why do you own sweaters?
Bro, it gets cold at night.
All right.
It gets cold at night. So,
So this footage right here, is this footage at the first scene or the second scene still?
That's the first scene.
It's the first scene. I think we're about to get into the second scene,
So
right?
this is the
That's
corner
the
of the
second
school.
scene.
This is the school
This is
corner.
the second scene here?
Yeah, went a little further back. And
But anyways, all right. So
okay,
go ahead.
So anyway, so I'm on my way to meet him, and I was like, you know what? No, I got to go. So I said, hey, you know, sorry, buddy, I have to go. I have to go.
You're going to the
I have to go
residence.
because I have to beat the helicopter. Because at some point, the helicopter is going to start heading that way, and
And all the other helicopters are going to follow.
I need to already be in Riverside.
Sure.
So I went to the 60 and the 215, and I started making some phone calls with some of my contacts to find out where this house was. And I was told that it is near Franklin. Well, there's a Franklin Avenue in Riverside, and there's a Franklin Elementary. I went to Franklin Avenue first because it was closest to me. I saw nothing. I circled that whole neighborhood. I saw nothing. So I was like, well, it's got to be at Franklin Elementary. And we get up here, which, for those who aren't familiar, Franklin Elementary is closer to March Air Force Base in the city of Riverside.
Okay.
So, or March is actually in Moreno Valley, but it's closer. You know, it's close to Moreno Valley, Riverside border. So I flew up here, and I got here just in time as they were loading. The SWAT team was loading up on the back of that Bearcat and starting to move into the gated community.
And at this point, you let me know that, hey, I'm at this guy's house.
Yeah.
No other media here.
No other
and
media
I'm
there.
in the middle of sending out your second feed to networks. So I put in part three, or I put in notes, part 3 to follow, footage at suspect's house. My phone fucking blew up. My phone blew up. Everyone's like, where is it? Where is it? I'm like, I don't know. Call Mike. I don't know. Call Mike.
I was not giving it out.
No, I didn't want to give it out either. I didn't even tell him it was the city of Riverside. I knew it was Riverside,
Mike
but I'm like, I don't know where it's at. I just know that he's there.
No, yeah, no shit.
Right? You know, just like San Bernardino played it close to their chest.
Channel 4.
That's exactly who called. Was Channel 4.
No shit.
And said, hey, you guys. I'm like, Mike. Call Mike. He'll tell you.
I held that sucker close to my chest because I knew.
Yeah.
I knew.
You had the scoop right
let's face it. Well, it's okay. So it's not so much that I wanted to keep it from the news stations, but I did want to keep it from my competition. This is how we make a
fucking living.
Yeah, I wanted to keep it from my competition because just like we can hear law enforcement, we can also hear the news stations.
Yeah.
So with the scanners. So I knew that if they by any means put it out,
they would slip it out. They would slip it out for
my
sure.
competition would be there in a heartbeat. And I have competition that live in Riverside.
And not even competition, the stations, which is
No,
competition.
Right.
But
But it
competition.
Any camera's a competition.
Right. But I wasn't intentionally trying to keep it from the station.
No, I get it. No.
Because I knew by the time they got here.
But I was.
But Mike, we were.
I was keeping it from my competition. And the only way to keep it from my competition was to keep it from the stations.
From everybody.
So I had one other friend here, Dan Cupido. He was here shooting stills for his website. And then real quick, talk about sponsors. I'm just going to throw out 2 sponsors right here. Shout out to Procinto Reporting Venue for helping me out. They are a huge help to me and what is going on in Riverside County. You both are huge helps to me. Without them, seriously, because without them, without those 2 Facebook pages, a lot of the information that I get would be late. Sorry, man. Look, I can't do everything. You tell me which one you want me to put.
We want you to get on both of them.
Say thank you.
Oh, thank you to Procinto Reporting Venue, Dan Cupido, and Steve Johnson with what's going on in Riverside County. Because without your 2 Facebook pages, a lot of the information I get would be late. And because those 2 Facebook pages are 2 of the biggest pages in the Riverside area, people post on those all the time. People are asking me how.
It's current.
Yeah. Oh yeah. People are asking me how am I dealing with the fact that Riverside PD went encrypted. I'll tell you, I was worried at first. I'm not worried anymore because social media is quicker than that Motorola.
Dude. You just got to know who to follow.
Yeah. Social media is quicker than the Motorola.
We've talked to a fireman that works in Linwood area, and he's even told us, he goes, our guys that carry their phones, the pulse point, the activation from the pulse point from the social fucking app will activate first before the fucking bell does in the firehouse.
Yep.
So that's the social media thing. I know you were worried about that, and because I know I know you hate it when fucking you're like, fuck you, Riverside encrypting this and keeping us from our gig. I was
not happy.
But there's ways around it. Kids and apps and social media will find a way around everything.
Oh yeah.
Everything.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. So here, at this location, I was a little disappointed because it's a gated community, and
but you got in somehow.
I did.
How? How'd you get in?
Just drove in like normal.
Oh, right.
No.
So, using the car like you said you don't do.
No, because once again, I parked that car way down the street.
Right.
Because I didn't know where this was.
Yeah, they could have yellow taped off the gate and you couldn't get out.
Wow, this is the house. This is their house.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
They got a Benzo. They got the truck. They got 4 cars. His wife had another car at the school.
Yeah.
They got a big, nice house, gated community.
Well, I think what happened was there's more than one. From what I'm understanding, there was more than one family or one family member living at that house.
Does anybody know why the murder-suicide happened? Was she cheating on him? Was there? Was there?
Let's get rid of this.
I don't know.
I'm asking. Is there more to the story? Do you know any more?
I don't.
Facts
I don't.
I
just know that he has his ex-wife prior to
21st. 21st.
What?
When did this happen? How many days ago?
Oh, I don't know. Don't even ask me what happened yesterday because I don't know. Yeah, it was about a week ago.
I think it was the 21st or 2nd.
All right. So yeah, I was just wondering if there's any more facts that you know, because
the only facts that I know is, and it kind of links in with this case,
like a scorned lover
is
type
the fact that I know that his first marriage, when it ended, she also, I I believe she put out a
Oh,
restraining order
yeah,
on him
he was like a
because he had
violent guy.
he had threatened to kill her and her
So
kid
this is
too.
his second marriage.
So yeah, he's not. You know,
He's
from
not
what I'm
stable.
understanding,
He's
he's
not
not.
very stable, man.
Yeah,
Well, obviously he's not very stable.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
Yeah. And then you go on to his Facebook page, and it was, I mean, people, because he had his Facebook page kind of sort of locked. You can't post to his page, but you can post to his page if you go under something that he posted and just leave a comment.
Okay, but what's his face?
All right, yeah. So I don't know where I got March 22nd from. It happened April 10th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have something else going. I will have some other things going on, and I have to.
Right? You
So-
got so
grab
many
some
things
stuff.
going on,
I
Scotty.
actually kind of do.
Yeah, you actually kind of do.
I
man.
actually kind of do have a lot of
when's
things
that
fucking going on.
Is
All
California?
right, I knew I was waiting
big
for it.
earthquake? Is the big earthquake coming?
I
When's
was
the big-
waiting
when's the
for
big
the
earthquake coming?
conversation to turn.
When's the big
It
earthquake
has
coming?
now officially turned.
When's the big earthquake coming? Fucking Nostradamus.
You know what's funny? How you called me out on that like not too long ago, but that's the out of all my predictions, that's the one that hasn't come through. Everything else I fucking predicted has come through. That's the only one that hasn't come through yet.
Oh, so you predicted San Bernardino shooters.
I did. I didn't predict shooting. I said we were going to get hit by terrorists in the IE.
But that's what I'm
and
saying.
then I've picked a bunch of other shit through life. We don't need to get into everything.
No, but
but
you're-
this is the one that you're stuck on because it hasn't happened yet. It will happen, and I'm prepared for it. So is Mike. We're going to go to work that night or morning, whenever it fucking happens, and go document some history.
I'll give you an example of why you're Captain fucking obvious and why you fucking. I mean, yeah. Guess what? Of course, a fucking earthquake's coming to California at some point.
Yeah, but a big one. And I figured, well, I didn't know if it was going to be.
This took a turn.
All right. All right. Okay. Here's another example. So when we leave the studio, sometimes Scott and I will stand at the elevator fucking bays, right? Okay, and then there's 3 elevators there, and Scotty and I'll stand in front of one, just standing in front of one, and then he'll stand in another one, and then he'll go. And whenever one comes up, he goes, I won. My elevator came. I picked the right one. No, because
I play that game with the kids. I just so happen to play it with you because it gives me something to do when we walk down the elevator.
No, what I'm saying, Scotty, is like, yeah, elevators are coming up when you hit the fucking button. They are coming.
And you have 1 of a 3 chance, and I'm usually 90% right.
Are you? But are you the only one? But you're the only one playing.
No, my kids play with me.
No, I don't.
You're not one of my kids, but the kids play with me.
Right. Okay. Just I'm saying. You state obvious things and you just wait for them to happen. Then you go, I was fucking right. That's what you do. That's what you do.
So it was obvious that we were gonna get attacked in San Bernardino by terrorists.
Yeah, this country has more guns than any other fucking landmass.
I sat there and said,
globe.
hey, look, if we're going to get hit on the West Coast, it's going to be in the IE because and I have reasons, not just because I felt it. It's because
what are the reasons? What are the reasons?
The reasons are there's less eyes in a bigger area. Here in LA, you have more eyes in a smaller area. So I figured if something was going to happen, it would happen in the IE in a bigger area. And it was just
what eyes
I go
are you
with
talking about? Just like eyes in general, everybody's eyes, or police department eyes, and like what are you talking about? Less eyes.
I'm talking about what is it? See it, say something. Those eyes. I'm talking about those eyes, the public's eyes.
Okay.
See something,
Right.
say something's
Right.
eyes.
Right. Okay.
So.
But the earthquake's coming, everybody. Hey, look, what this is the April 16th broadcast. Scott.
April 15th, tax day?
No, it's the 16th.
Actually,
It's the fucking 15th.
it is the 15th.
Did you do your taxes?
Yes, but you have until the 18th.
Did you do your taxes?
Ha!
Oh.
You do have till the 18th this year.
Right. Yeah, but anyway, people, listen. Seriously, you live in California. There's going to be an earthquake coming. Scott said so. All right. So just beware.
But what I want to know
See, the thing is, when you first feel it, you don't know if you got, because it could be, the big one could happen in San Francisco, and we only got the tail end of it while San Francisco's dead.
Okay,
or
but
the
what-
big one happened here, and San Francisco just feels the tail end of it. But we have a plan, right? Like,
Okay, but what I want to know is California going to fall off into the ocean when it happens?
no, I don't think we're falling off, but we're fucked.
Ask the scientist here.
Not a scientist. Just been living
Because
here
the
a while.
way I look at it is, when it happens, I'm starting to drive towards Nevada because we're going to need somebody on the mainland.
Whoa. Wait, when it happens, you drive towards where it happened.
No.
No, you don't drive away
no.
from where it happened. You drive
For
to
me,
where it
yes,
happened.
yes, because
you have a job to do.
because here's the problem: if California breaks off, we're going to need somebody on the mainland, and all you clowns are going to be stuck on this island.
I'm
going to
be on top
California.
I'm going to be on top of this
I'm
roof.
going to be shooting from.
I'm going to be on top of this roof if it still
That's
exists.
I'm just saying. We're going to need somebody out here.
Somebody.
Todd,
I probably won't. I'll be at home.
I was going to ask, where's Todd going?
I'm probably be home drinking,
Well, yeah.
painting.
Fair enough.
Every day that ends in Y. All right, so hold on 1 second here. I think I have that. So let me do this. What are you, Mike? Large, extra large?
What?
What I was asking your
I like the extra large because it's going to shrink.
All right. So Chief Miller sent us some gear.
Who is that?
Make sure you.
It's one of these hats. Take one of these hats too, man.
Well, first of all, who is it? Because
He's a Louisiana Chief Miller. You don't know who Chief Miller is?
I don't.
Well,
And Mike's not really on Instagram.
for as much as somebody spends
Mike's
as
not
much
really
time
on
on
Instagram,
fucking
that's
social
why.
media.
He's not.
I follow those 2 sites. Well, 3 because I follow ours
So
now.
anyways, pick a shirt before you leave. That one's kind of cool. That one's cool. All his shirts are kind of cool.
Yeah, you can show up. You can show up to the scene with your competition. You guys can look like firefighters.
Chief Miller is a battalion chief in Louisiana, and he has become the Instagram go-to when it comes to fire stuff. People post fires, he reposts it. He loves himself a fire, and he posts it, and he loves himself firefighting. Hey, Chief, hello, how are you? Hope all is well. So now what are we doing, guys? We kind of come to the conclusion of this, right?
Yep.
I mean, if we talk more, it's
You
just
wanna-
we're gonna have to delete.
Do you want to talk shit on Scotty some more, Mike?
Was
you and me?
When you say some more, did you guys talk when I left? I'm curious to see what happened, what that looked like. I didn't, or you just forgot about me. Thank you.
We were just both happy you left.
Oh, I can continue to leave. So, yeah.
Thanks, Mike, for coming in, dude, and telling us the stories about San Bernardino and the Cajon Pass and all that stuff.
Yeah, Mike's had some crazy stories, man. That's history.
It's not an easy job by no means. Actually I don't like this job very much. It's a grind, you know, and to get out there and hustle and hump and go out and do it and and cover and everything we do, it's not easy, man.
But it's a grind. It is a grind, and it's different for you LA guys. It really is. Because out here in the IE, where I'm at, I've learned that, and this is what I tell all the law enforcement. I was like, look, I'm different. I'm different than the LA guys. I don't just run in, shoot in, and leave. Part of that is because I have to do my research for the news stations. Because if I don't, they won't. Because a lot of mine has to do with Riverside County. Riverside County doesn't like to talk. So if I can get the information while I'm there to help them out, it benefits me.
Yeah.
So I don't like to run in and shoot it and leave. Not only that, but I'm out there to make friends too. I'll sit out there and bullshit with firemen and police officers all day long. All day long.
So that's a little different between Todd and I. Todd and I, we're not here to make friends.
See,
We're just here to shoot some video.
I am, and the reason is, I mean, there's a couple.
Todd and I are happy
reasons
with our
is-
friends that we
that's
have now.
That's just the way I brought. That's the way I always wanted to be a cop, and it's not like I'm trying to be a wannabe or anything. That's just who I am.
No,
I support them 100%.
Mike, I get it. We totally get it. But
Speaking of wannabes, do you help people? Do you help them at the scene? Do you take out your flashlight and be like, "Hey, there's evidence over there. There's evidence over here."
No.
There's a shell casing right over there. in the gutter.
If I'm doing that, it's because I'm filming it.
Right. Some stringers do that.
If I'm using a flashlight, it's because I spotted something that I need to film.
Right, and I didn't want you to go over and walk up and pick it up or put a card down so I could get the shot of you working the scene. Yeah, I get it.
I have a quick question, Mike.
Yeah.
How's your credit now? After all
It
this
still
time,
ain't that great.
Well, check it now. Check it now. Since you've done the show here, you never know what's going to happen.
No, trust me.
Discover Card's probably been watching, going, "Oh, we want this guy. We're going to give him full credit. We're going to give him a card for $8,000 total credit limit."
Yeah, I wish. I wish.
Look at MasterCard. Bang.
Rockstar.
All right. Well, hey, Mike, thanks for coming in. It's been a wonderful Saturday afternoon talking to you and hearing about all your crazy stories. So come back in soon and we'll chop it up again, yeah?
Yep.
All right, bud.
All right, thanks for having me.
Thanks, man.
That's it. We out.